when I write handwritten notes to people, I try and add an emoji, and it looks terrible because drawing out emojis is harder than it may seem. So I decided for this month's beginner cookie decorating set that I would decorate emoji cookies because for some reason I have the audacity. But I will say it turned out better than I expected. My name is Cami Bird. I'm the creator of Iced.Kitchen, and this month's beginner cookie decorating set is 4 emojis. Now we kept this simple with just 3 colors because there are plenty of emojis, right? And these don't necessarily include my favorite emojis. It does include 1, maybe 2 of my favorites. But in general, I wanted to keep it simple. So we're only using yellow, black, and white. So let's get into mixing our colors and how you can decorate these fun emoji sets.
As always, we'll get started by creating our colors and consistency for icing. So we're just going to need a little bit of white. It's a little bit of accent. So we're just getting it to the 15-20 second consistency where it is flowing nicely off the spatula, but not too much. We'll get into that a little bit more on this yellow. So we're going to do a lot of yellow. It's the base of every single cookie. So majority of your icing should be utilized to make yellow, which means you're going to need a lot of yellow food coloring this time. I put in 6 drops. Totally would think that would be enough. Nope, look how pale that goes. 6 more. And I will say I add 6 more to this. So some simple math in my head right now, 18 drops of yellow for this entire bowl of icing. So what I'm doing is I'm adding the food coloring, but also a little bit of water so we can get it to the 15-20 second icing where it's flowing off the spatula. The other thing about that is if I ran a knife through it or my spatula through it, it would take about 15 to 20 seconds to settle. Lastly, we're doing a little bit of black, just like the white, and it's going to be gray. It was a little too gray, so I added some more black, a little bit more water, but then eventually it got to a dark gray where it's not going to develop any further. But we can decorate it and it'll go black. So let's set up our workspace. I'm always on a piece of parchment. I have my little turntable, my paper towel, scribe, my icing, and then some scissors and my cookies. Before we can start decorating, we have to cut the ends of our piping bags. We're just doing a simple cut off the end. I'm gonna cut my yellow piping bag a little bit bigger so I can decorate these cookies faster, and I'm not going to worry about it being too straight. But on my black and my white, where I'm doing some precision work, I want a little bit of a smaller hole on the end, and I'm also going to turn it 90 degrees after I cut it to make sure that it is a completely straight line. This will help the icing not curl at the end of your piping bag. And I do that again with the white. I want to straighten out that end and cut it straight across, a lot of straight here, and then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees so that I can cut it again and make sure that is completely straight across. There's no curve in that, and I always test it to make sure that the hole is perfect for piping. Every single cookie in this set has a yellow base, and so you're going to go through and put that yellow base, doing your outline and then filling it in with icing for every single cookie before we come back and do the fun design on top. We're going to start with the big smiley face. So you're going to grab your black icing and you're just going to start with a straight line across and then a big kind of half circle below to make that smile. And you're going to go really slow. You're watching this in real time and then a line straight across it. And the trick to this really is going slow, which is not something I often will say, but the trick to good line work is taking your time, having consistent pressure, and going slow. I cannot say it too much. And there are some pieces in this clip that I am speeding up, like the second eye here, and then the filling of the black and the filling of the white here as well. But there's a good mix of real time and sped up here so that you can see how slow I go. I actually was not slow enough on this white because I was trying to get a nice straight across line and I wasn't doing it. I come back with the scribe just to even things out and clean everything up a little bit, and you might find it's necessary, you might not. On our next cookie, we again start on the mouth, and you're just gonna, again, go slow with that black icing. And we're doing a big oval, almost like a pill shape. And you can see my icing stopped, so I just went with it and I turned my cookie and I kept on going. I started at the middle point of the mouth because I thought starting and ending on a curve would be too difficult. And I was kind of right about that. And I was really just kind of letting the icing flow out of the piping bag instead of forcing it out of the piping bag so I could get nice straight ends instead of kind of a blob start or a blob finish. It has taken me many years to finally get to this point. So if you're like, well, my lines are just blobby, it takes time, and if you're already mastering it, I am amazed. You're fantastic, and I'm not even saying that sarcastically. The eyes are very similar on a lot of these, and so you're doing kind of these domes that are a little filled in, and then you fill in that mouth with white. Just even it out a little bit. You don't have to be too precious about it because we're going to put more on top. We're going to do 4 lines to make the teeth, and again, you just want to give a little bit of pressure, let the icing flow out. You want to make sure you're not touching your piping bag to your cookie, but that the icing is kind of falling onto your cookie. Let gravity work for you. And then you're going to split those teeth in half, and your cookie is done. This is my favorite emoji, well, one of my favorite emojis, and probably the hardest to decorate, just because getting the specific features just right was kind of hard. So you're going to start off with the mouth, just like on all the other emoji cookies, and it's very similar to the eyes that you've done on a couple of the cookies as well. And then the eyes on this cookie are kind of like commas on their side, and I wasn't getting the curves quite right on these, and so I kind of came back and overlapped them a little bit more, and I had some icing fall out how I didn't want to. It's okay. It's a cookie at the end of the day. And then you add on these thin eyebrows, and that's the cookie. But it will challenge you. It might. Maybe it was just me. And then lastly, we have the sunglass cookie, which starts with a really big round smile, which again, you just want to let the icing flow out. And then I found it easiest to start by doing the bottom curve of the sunglasses. So I could get that kind of U and then up over the nose and then U again. And then I would end at that point and come back over and kind of do a slanted down top of the sunglass so that I'm outlining it, and then I come back and I fill it. This is sped up, so don't feel like you need to fill it this speed, and use my scribe to even it out. And then to add a little bit of a touch, because the actual emoji has a couple different shading in the sunglasses, I added a drop of white, and then I'm using my scribe to kind of spread that out a little bit, so I got my cool sunglass guy.
Sometimes when I decorate these cookie sets, I have cookies that I try and hide from you because I want to have a few variations and I want to show what it can look like, but sometimes there are cookies I don't want to share. And so this was the first one I did, and it just, let's have a side-by-side comparison with how they turned out. I wasn't going to show this one, but just so you can know, you can still have cute cookies even if you make some mistakes. And the fun part about decorating sugar cookies as a beginner or even as an expert, you know, whatever level that you find yourself at, is you're still going to have delicious cookies in the end. If you want to try that out for yourself, give it a try. Let me know how it goes, and be sure to share your emoji cookies this month with me. You can share, tag me anywhere at Iced.Kitchen, and I would love to see what you design. Until then, I'll see you next month.